All right, let's talk about a book that, well, it's one of those that can genuinely change your life. I'm talking about Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning.
And look, this is so much more than just a book. It's a testament to what humans can survive. It's Frankl's own story from inside a concentration camp, and it's all about his search for what keeps a person going when faced with, the absolute worst things imaginable.
So that really gets us to the core question, right? The question that Frankl, who was a psychiatrist before he was a prisoner, spent his entire life trying to figure out. When you're facing absolute, total suffering, what on earth keeps you going?
For Frankl, the answer was all about a quest for meaning. And this wasn't some academic idea he came up with in a comfortable office. No way. This was a lifeline, a theory he built and tested in literally the worst place on Earth.
He actually borrowed a powerful line from the philosopher Nietzsche to sum it all up, and it's this: "He who has a why to live for can bear almost any how." Think about that. If your reason for living is strong enough, you can get through almost anything.
So this whole idea became his life's work, which he called logotherapy. Freud was all about the search for pleasure, Adler was about the search for power, but Frankl, he said, nope, you're both missing it. He believed our main drive, the thing we need most, is meaning. And sadly, his time in Auschwitz became the ultimate and most horrifying proof that he was right.
Okay, so let's get into it. Let's see what happened when this idea about meaning met the brutal, unimaginable reality of the concentration camps.
Frankl, being a psychiatrist, noticed that pretty much every prisoner went through the same psychological stages. He broke it down into 3 phases. And the first one, the one that hits you right at the beginning, is just pure, overwhelming shock.
The moment they got off the trains at Auschwitz, they faced what he called the first verdict. And this wasn't some formal judgment. It was terrifyingly simple, just a casual flick of the wrist. An SS officer would just stand there and point. Left or right. Point to the left, and you were sent straight to the gas chambers. About 90% of people went left. Point to the right, you were sent to the forced labor camps. A single gesture, a split second, decided everything. Frankl, by some chance, was sent to the right.
And the thing is, the people sent to the right, they didn't even know what happened at first. Later that night, Frankl asked an older prisoner where his friend had gone, the friend who was sent to the left. The man just pointed to a chimney spewing smoke and said, "That's where your friend is, floating up to heaven." And just like that, the terrible truth crashed down on them. They took absolutely everything. Their families, their clothes, their names were replaced with numbers. But for Frankl, the absolute worst moment was when they took the manuscript he had hidden in his coat. It was his entire life's work, and in that one moment he said it felt like his whole past life was just gone, erased. But here's where things get really incredible. Even in that pit of despair, with everything gone, Frankl noticed something. Some people didn't just give up. They found a reason to keep going. And he started to figure out what those reasons were.
And what he discovered is actually remarkably simple, but so profound. He saw that people found meaning in one of 3 ways. First, by creating something or doing a good deed. Second, by experiencing something beautiful or loving someone. And the third one, maybe the most important, was found in the attitude they took towards suffering they couldn't escape.
He tells this amazing story about himself. He'd be forced to march for miles in the freezing cold, and to cope, he would have these vivid conversations with his wife in his head. Now get this, he had no idea if she was even alive, but it didn't matter. The love he felt for her, that mental image, was so powerful it was like a light in the darkness. It became his why.
And that realization, the idea that what's going on inside you can be more powerful than what's happening around you, that led him to what is, for my money, the single most important idea in the entire book. So think about it. If they take everything from you, everything, what's left? What can't they take? Frankl says there is one thing that is always yours. And it's this: the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. They could control his body, sure. They could control his environment, but they could never control how he chose to respond to it all, inside his own mind.
And he saw proof of this every single day. Look, a lot of prisoners, understandably, became almost like animals in that desperate fight to live. But then there were others, a few, who did the opposite. They would walk through the barracks comforting people, even giving away the last little piece of bread they had.
For Frankl, that was everything. That was the proof. He argued that if even one person could maintain their dignity and help others in that hell, it proves that it's possible. It proves that our inner choice can be more powerful than our outer fate.
So after seeing both the absolute worst and the absolute best of humanity side by side, what's the big takeaway?
Well, he put it perfectly in this one sentence, which is just haunting. He said that man is the being who invented the gas chambers of Auschwitz, but he's also the being who walked into those gas chambers upright with a prayer on his lips. We have both inside of us, the capacity for evil and the capacity for dignity. The choice is always, always ours. You see, Frankl found his why. It was to survive so he could see his wife again and to rewrite his book, to turn all that suffering into something meaningful that could help others. And he did it. He survived. So the book leaves us and you with one final massive question. Frankl found his why. What's yours?